Hi everyone. So, free will or destiny? The big question. I'm going to attempt to bring some truth based on my own experience and to help myself get to that truth. I'm going to tell you first a story. 6 months ago, I was looking for a home. And I went to visit this home destiny, as I would like to call it. And I remember at that time I was facing a lot of blockages around money, and even though I could afford that place, I told myself I wanted something cheaper. So when I went to see that house, really I was blind. I didn't pay much attention to the place because I knew already that I was gonna reject it just because I didn't want to pay that much, even though I could afford it. So indeed, I rejected the place and I kept looking other places. So finally I found a home. Hell of a journey, definitely not a good place for me. I moved within the next 2 months to another place, another hell of a journey, definitely not the place for me. And so I remember I sat down and I started writing down and being very specific about all the things that I wanted my home to have or to be. About the colors of the walls, even little details, like shelves that I needed for, my things, and how I wanted the kitchen designs to be, the views, the lighting. I was being very, very specific. And I was so fed up of being moving so much. I mean, 3 times within a year, that I also asked the universe for a sign, for clarity, to really, guide me to find the home that it was right for me. And so I get a hint to call the landlord of Destiny House. And so I did. I called this man and he says to me, well, you are lucky because the current tenants are about to leave in a week. And I was like, wow, this is crazy because I'm also meant to be leaving this home in a week. So I went to visit the place once again. And by then, by the way, I told myself I was going to pay whatever the price if I really felt that it was the right place for me, because I was just done with being so miserable in other places. So because of that, because I have already left the conditioning of money, scarcity, and all these things, and I open myself fully to whatever options were good for me rather than what I wanted to pay. Because truly, when we are choosing to pay less, in the end it's costing us more because of all the energy that it takes from us being in a place that is not right for us, right? This is something that I learned from this experience. But anyway, when I enter into this home, the Destiny home, for the second time, I am blown away because it's as if I'm looking at this home for the very first time. It's as if I have lifted the veil and I'm looking at every detail, and it is ticking exactly every box that I have requested to the universe back then. So I'm like mind blown and saying yes to the whole house. Finally saying yes to the house. And that led to just a feeling of peace, and also enable me to get my creative juices alive again, because I felt good in this place. Just because the place energy was matching my own energy. So now you ask, why are you telling us this story? Hold on. This is where it gets interesting. Because for me to let you know, or to illustrate my now knowing about, is it free will or is it destiny? And the answer is both are real. Both exist in this reality. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we have a soul or an oversoul that is designing our supreme destiny, our higher path, right? In every lifetime, we have a mission to become this person. This is our highest becoming, right? And so, how do we help ourselves to know that we are in alignment with that higher becoming, that greatest becoming of our beingness? Is by what I call checkpoints. And checkpoints are, moments in our evolution, moments in our life experience where we get to places that are fully in alignment with who we are. And that was that house for me. That house was signaling me, hey, you have reached a checkpoint within your destiny, within your supreme destiny, like in directions of your supreme destiny, right? Why? Because the signs were everywhere. The house was literally what I needed it, what I wanted it, what I needed it, what my soul needed to flourish and to bloom. That's why I knew that I was destined to be living in that house. So the supreme destiny, 100% real. This was a checkpoint, that home was a checkpoint for me to know, hey, I'm in the right path, in the right direction, which is my highest becoming. Now, when we talk about free will, this is where we get messed up, because we are like, all right, but then, if life is destined, what are we doing here? Isn't it boring to know what's going to happen? Well, no, because there comes another little body here called free will. And free will is just as real as destiny. And what free will does is that it informs the pace in which we are aligning with that supreme destiny. And not only that, it also informs how in alignment we are with our truest path, which is our supreme destiny, right? So it informs the pace, because coming back to this example of my destined home checkpoint in my destined outcome, highest outcome, I didn't choose this home right away. I didn't choose this home the first time. Meaning, instead of reaching to that place, I don't know, at 33 years old, I reached that destined home at 34. Why? Because it took me a whole year to say yes, right? Remember that I didn't want to pay the cost of that rent? Remember that I chose to say no, and instead I took another house that was not in alignment with me? That was the cost of that misalignment. And that was my free will. Because free will is my ability to choose, right? Is this gonna happen? For sure, I was meant to be living in that home. But it was up to my free will to align to it at the piece in which it was intended, or maybe a little bit later, right? Depending on the choices that I make. That is why when we say, oh, you are in alignment with your soul, you are in alignment with your highest destiny, with your supreme destiny, right? And so why also free will help us see how in alignment we are? Because I was going to reach that home, yes or yes. I know that because that was my checkpoint. But I was not in alignment. When I rejected it the first time, I was not yet in alignment to receive it, right? Because my free will was not in alignment with what my soul intended for me in that moment. As soon as I said to the universe, dear universe, I'm willing to pay whatever the cost of this rent because my energy is what's most important, most valuable, right? And it is when I align with that, I align with my soul's true path for me, right? Because I chose myself and I chose my worth and I chose my peace and I chose my alignment. So we do have free will because we are choosing constantly. But we all have agreed before incarnating on what our highest outcome, how our highest supreme destiny, our highest becoming is going to be. I hope this is bringing some clarity into this topic. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Maybe if you have stories, about alignment, free will, soul's destiny. Sending you so much love. Mwah.